I'm Yunsu, your economic analyst, and welcome to Global Economic Social News live in Turkey. It is crucial that a nation is achieving its macroeconomic objectives. They include price level stability, full employment, economic growth, and equity in the distribution of income. GESN today has accumulated statistical data from 2014 for the nation of Turkey and will examine such notions for the country. In 2014, the inflation rate marked 8.9%, a considerably high amount. Inflation is simply the increase in average price levels of goods and services in a nation over time. Inflation rates between 0 to 5% are typically considered low and stable, fulfilling its macroeconomic objective of price level stability. Theoretically, at high inflation rates such as 8.9%, firms and households will rush to spend before the money's value is eroded by higher prices. This causes a demand pull inflation from the increase in aggregate demand, which will reduce real incomes and contribute to instability in the economy. This high inflation rate could also have been caused by cost-push inflation from a negative supply shock, which results from the increase in the cost of production. This suggests that Turkey does not fulfill the macroeconomic objective of price level stability. The consequences of a high inflation includes lower real incomes, lower real interest rates for savers, higher nominal interest rates for borrowers, and reduced international competitiveness, as demand for the nation's product will fall as they will appear to be more expensive compared to foreign goods. Moving on, the unemployment rate in 2014 of Turkey was 9.4%. Unemployment, which is the state of being out of work, actively seeking work, but unable to get work, is typically at 3.5%. Which is the natural rate of unemployment. Unemployment can result from either a decrease in aggregate demand or aggregate supply. However, as previously mentioned, in Turkey, as aggregate demand is increased with high inflation rates, it is likely that unemployment is caused by a decrease in aggregate supply, hence a negative supply shock. This is also known as stagflation, which causes an increase in average price levels with a decrease in total output. Typically, with a negative supply shock and a corresponding increase in average price levels, as the firms try to offset the higher cost of production, they lay off workers, resulting with a decline in national output and increase in unemployment. With this being said, it can be assumed that there was an increase in cyclical unemployment due to a negative supply shock in Turkey. Unemployment could lead to increased levels of psychological illnesses, increased poverty and crime as more people commit crimes to attain their necessities, and a decrease in aggregate demand for the economy as households that are unemployed earn less and thus consume less. The Phillips curve illustrates the inverse relationship between unemployment and inflation, extending the assumption that in Turkey, high unemployment is caused by a negative supply shock instead of a demand deficiency. This will contribute to an increase in inflation and a further increase in unemployment as producers face higher costs. With the negative supply shock, which causes aggregate supply to shift left, both unemployment and inflation increases and causes the Phillips curve to shift out. This further highlights how Turkey is not meeting its macroeconomic objectives of low unemployment and price level stability, and this is an area of policy that the government still needs to fix. Moving on, in 2014, Turkey has marked a 3% in its GDP growth rate. This may be a helpful indicator in determining the third macroeconomic objective for Turkey, which is economic growth. Economic growth is the increase in the output of goods and services produced by a nation over time. It can be measured by both an increase in GDP or an increase in the per capita economic growth. As Turkey is producing below its full employment level of output, and output is increasing, the economy is increasing in its actual output. This type of increase occurs in the recovery phase of the business cycle from a recession. Thus, we are able to conclude that Turkey is achieving its third macroeconomic objective of economic growth. This leads to beneficial consequences such as higher incomes and greater output. However, there are also negative consequences, most importantly inflation and increase in equity in the distribution of income, which are both serious dilemmas in Turkey. Equity in the distribution of income is the last macroeconomic objective out of the four. The Lorenz curve illustrates income distribution. The further this curve is from the line of equality, the more unequally income is distributed. The Gini coefficient is a similar indicator, as the closer the coefficient is to 0, the more equal, and the closer it is to 100 in this case, the less equal the income distribution. Turkey in 2014 had the Gini coefficient of 43.6, which is extremely high, and its Lorenz curve is far away from the line of equality, especially when compared to other countries. This indicates that the income distribution is very unequal in Turkey, and thus also indicates the great inequity in income distribution. Thus, we can conclude that Turkey fails to achieve its fourth macroeconomic objective of equity in income distribution. This wraps up today's economic analysis on Turkey's macroeconomic objective achievements of 2014. Thank you.